where we, as it suggests, talk about all the pills men are supposed to take to become Wolfram alphas. And some people might get that.
I'm sorry.
Um, but yeah,
Ooh.
that's where we are. The Crayola 64 bum ass pills. And
Oh, Crayola 64 bum-ass pills.
yep, here I am, a hat wearer, broke person trying to do all the creative things that give you no money with no sponsorship. And I am here with my co-host. Oh, I am supposed to be an educator, but I might as well. That was included in being broke. All right. I'm very happy about things.
I'm, s- listen, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you.
And here's my co-host, a full parent, educator, father, martial arts instructor.
Yeah, Olivier Kersey. Recently, I have been uh, the fall off listener. That is J Cole's new album, and
Right.
I love that album right now. I love that album. Um, but
I still gotta listen. I always get to things late. I really have to listen to it, unless it's Bad Bunny. I really, cause like, even did you listen to the Clips album that came out like 2 fucking years ago?
yeah,
Well, it's a great album. I realized last year.
I mean, I think it came out last year.
All right. Well, I realized in the middle of last year it's a great album.
Yeah, yeah.
I probably really. I mean, Kendrick, I've been good with at least the past two when it comes out, but I kind of like have one in each genre that it's like, there we go, like The Weeknd and R&B and rap Kendrick, Bad Bunny, reggaeton, Blink-182 and rock, and then the last spot is just Prince and Frank Sinatra. May they both rest in peace. So anything, just reusing that music that never gets old. Of course, if Rage Against the Machine puts out something for the first time since I was like 4, that'd be cool. But I also just love Rage Against the Machine, so they don't need to. But anyway, enough about that. You were saying about what you've been doing something, restarting something. Oh
restarting
no, no,
something.
no! You were saying about the J Cole album. So like,
Oh yeah, the yeah. So I really like this album. It's called The Fall Off. It's supposedly his last studio album as a rapper. Um, there's been
it
lots
is.
of that's what a lot of people are saying. J Cole hasn't officially come out and be like, yeah, this is my last album. But he's been playing around and saying a lot of things, been like, hey, there's gonna be a fall off. Um, as him, I think him as a rapper as a whole. I like the album. I like the concept. It is definitely a concept album. Um, there are some people who don't like it, and that's perfectly fine. There are others who are deeply, madly in love. So like, this is the one of the best projects he's done. I do think it's one of his better projects, and I do think a lot of people, at least in my small circle, everyone's trying to get his 2014 Forest Hills Drive type of album again, and I'm just kind of like, guys, that will never happen again. In the
No,
sense,
he's like everybody. Yeah,
no, I was saying in the sense
yeah.
of
No,
just
go
like
on about.
I was saying, just like in the sense of he's no longer that person. We're no longer that person. We're no longer at that time. That album came out
We're still
12 years
living in
ago.
time. I mean, yeah, and
So
and people always demand so much of artists, like to be something, to do like artists. Yes, we help them to get to where they are because we consume their music, but like at the end of the day, this is coming from this person. This person has their own clock and timeline. They're going to produce what they feel like producing. They're going to put out what they want. It's not easy to do it, especially for someone like J. Cole, who writes his lyrics and makes his beats. At least a lot of the beats, he's involved in all the beats. I shouldn't say no one else does, but he's involved in making the beats for his music. He's also a producer himself. So
yes,
like, and he's not someone that just puts out things for hits. He's a pensive, you know, individual. So he's not just putting things, not just churning shit out. It's got to be meaningful to him. So like, let the man produce where he's at. Like, I hate when people get mad like you've been it's been like a year or something since an album. Motherfucker, let it be 10 years. I could do it. You could do whatever the fuck I want. The music comes from him. It's like you don't have J. Cole music without J. Cole. So the man has to put out his own process. Same thing with any artist. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Just 1 second because I gotta see what this family's saying. Okay, I'll cut that out because I'm tutoring, but I might not be tutoring anyway. All right, so I want to show something that Caravan just put up that makes me have a whole ton of feelings. This is not even what I planned on doing. I am not going to watch the whole video because it's going to get me mad. Okay, so I'm gonna do this clip because it's a YouTube short, but I'm not gonna watch the whole thing, that 14 minutes of this, because I know I'm gonna get mad. So hold on, now I have to figure out how to make sure it's in the fucking video too. So I'm gonna unplug. You can't hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. I think this is how it works. Okay, so hold on. Your call is in another window. I'm trying to share the damn screen.
You gotta love technology.
I'm telling you, someone's fucking with us because we onto something, because they know we gonna make it. And we're gonna fuck that Crayola pillbox up. All right, ready?
Yep.
Love looking at my feet saying, coping with your height. Let's go. I didn't want to watch the whole fucking video.
Everything. Coffee, Pomodoro. As previously mentioned, it's essential that you make peace with your height. That is, with that which you cannot control. And one way to facilitate this is to have a sort of dignified contempt for that which resides outside your domain of control. I am 5'11", and I have a little joke about my...
At this point in the MAGA movement,
Coñazo.
As previously mentioned,
So before I proceed, I already have dignified contempt.
Yes.
Because the man is talking about height like it's going to be a problem and something he's going to talk about, and he says, I am 5'11". My brother in Christ, don't speak to this then. Anything you say after this doesn't fucking matter to me unless it's going to be specifically applicable to people who are not literally above the national average of height. I only want to hear about short motherfuckers, and no one can speak better to short motherfuckers than me. You are about average height, like, right? You're 5'9", 5'10" ish.
I am.
So you're about
I'm
average
I'm the exactly American average height.
Yeah, it's 5. Yeah, it's between 5'9" and 5'10". So whatever
it's
side.
essential that you make peace with your height. That is, with that which you cannot control. And one way to facilitate this is to have a sort of dignified contempt for that which resides outside your domain of control. I am 5'11", and I have a little joke about my height. Namely, that God didn't make me 6 feet, so there would be some women the rest of you guys. Like,
Olivier,
yeah.
How good's that joke?
It wasn't that good. All right. So I mean, time
you're seeing us laugh like there's no tomorrow, like we're at a Dave Chappelle.
I was gonna say one time there was.
All right. Well, first Verizon gonna fuck it up.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. We're all frozen, but I could hear you.
Okay. All right. So this
one time. Go ahead.
This one time.
There was
this girl. I messaged her on OkCupid or something like that, and one of her things was you have to be 6 feet tall. And I responded with, "I'm 5'9". Let me stretch and give me a chance."
See, that's funny, but at the same time, you're also stretching your effort, and she's not worth it. That's what I would say to
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
let's
It didn't work out.
God had to handicap me a bit. Otherwise, I would just be unstoppable. Now, is that a cope? Yes. Is it entirely true? No. But is it psychologically healthy? Yeah. Like, there is nothing I can do about being 5'11. It is what it is. So I found a humorous way to reframe that which resides outside of my domain of control to my overall advantage, in that not being inherently unstoppable has absolutely forced me to get better in other respects. Like, if I were 6'3", would I have become a doctor? Maybe not. My dudes, there is such a thing as varsity quarterback syndrome. Guys who are tall and genetically attractive, that is, guys who enjoy a lot of early success in the sexual marketplace, are often not very ambitious. And on some level, why would they be? Especially considering that the end goal of most ambition is to enjoy better sexual optionality. If you can get that optionality directly, then there's no need to arrive there indirectly through extensive effort, right? As previously mentioned.
okay. So
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was just a whole bunch of.
so I got to put this back on.
Oh man, that was just a whole bunch of words just to basically be like, "Hey, if you're a good-looking dude and you're tall enough,
Okay.
you gotta put no
So
effort."
is there some truth to the second half of what he's saying? And by the way, for a guy who's a doctor, that was a whole bunch of anecdotal ass shit. But is there some truth to what he's saying? I think yes. In the second half, you had us in the first half. Not gonna lie, like the meme. No. You lost me in the first half. Is what happened, my guy. Okay, I agree that as a again, like it just gets me so mad when someone who is not of the group of people who are most affected gets to have the largest voice. And we see that throughout like fucking life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting myself as a short it may be a class, but it is not, of course, as important as other classes that have injustice. I want to be clear. But it does annoy me because we exist. In the movie The Materialist, which I'm still upset at, it could have done so much. I don't know if you've seen it, Olivier. The Materialist. Oh, is it a when you get the chance? Oh, watch that one with your wife. That's a good one to watch with a wife or girlfriend. That you're good with. It's a horrible one to watch with a wife or girlfriend you know for 2 weeks. Well, not a wife, but it's one of those ones like if you're good and you have a child together, good to watch it because it speaks to a lot of the things that you can laugh about in the lead up to there.
Mm.
But essentially, one thing that pissed me off was that I kid you not. First of all, before I even get to the materialist, I'm still not over Captain America. Okay, you saw Captain America, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember the first 15 minutes of Captain America where they superimposed Chris Evans' head on an actual short human? They couldn't
Yes.
just make it a short human. They made the body of a short human, but one that must be changed, by the way. That is it's inexcusable for it to exist without Chris Evans' head even on it. Even though it was a real person's body. That part I didn't know till I looked into this. And then they took Chris Evans and he's motherfucker's turned into Captain America. Nothing makes sense. It's not about how much he could bench. He could bench the fucking Empire State Building. He's Captain America. He could do whatever the fuck he wants. But it's not like his muscles have any sort of relationship between his strength, right? It's like, is Storm extremely brolic? No. Can she fucking make brolic shit happen? Yes. So it's like these things don't correlate. It's not like physical, a human visual indicators of strength cause the actual strength. It's about superpowers.
My cat could have superpowers and lift shit if it was superpowers. It's superpowers. But no, he must be tall. And the first thing he says after they put someone that like reminded my body when I was in fucking middle school, and the first thing he says after they throw him in the fucking chamber that could kill him, by the way, is how do you feel? And it's not I feel like I have the powers of no other human on earth to like move shit. It's not even stronger. He says taller. First thing he says after getting out of that chamber, something that is not extraordinary at all, right? But as a man, it makes him so much more attractive to this woman that he's interested in. I always found that interesting that he didn't say stronger. That's what everyone would say. If you were writing that line, it would be stronger. Like I feel like I could lift, like a joke even. I feel like I could lift the car. And then he does lift the car, right? That's what would make sense. But he says taller, and he is taller, but it's the same head. So I've always thought, as someone who was always told when they were younger that if only you were taller, that that movie was like horrific for me because it literally created a situation in which this fake fantasy could happen when you take someone's face you like and put it on a different body. And I have yet to see the reckoning of anyone who seems to care about men and their bodies. That was a horrific message for young men. That made it sound like we go to the lengths to nearly fucking kill ourselves in order to get a little bit taller. Fast forward to The Materialist, where they talk about a leg lengthening procedure. Something, if I had the money, I have admitted I would do. If I had the money, I would do it totally. We don't live in a world that people of my height are taken seriously. And also, I personally, as someone with a growth hormone deficiency, didn't get the medication I needed it. This is something that Leo Messi, the soccer player, had. And he did get the medication I needed it. He became tall, but he's what I call an excessive short. Okay, getting to Mr. Caravan in a second. But Pedro Pascal goes through, spoiler alert, it's not a huge spoiler, but he has the surgery in the movie. They didn't use a short person and like told about his journey. They didn't like try to make a short person taller in this case, which I almost would have preferred in this case because it actually addresses the thing about height. And it's actually not about superhero abilities. It's about merely attraction. And then Pedro Pascal goes lower to his knees and wait. I think the sound went out.
Hello?
Hello? Yeah, I
I-
can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello. You got Evan. That's it. You got my boy.
I hear you. I hear you.
All right.
I have to now hold this cord. I swear this has got to be the most fucking ratchet ass setup I've ever seen in my life. That Verizon itself is a company like that. Verizon should just be called Ratchet and Clank. Anyway, so should this setup. But so Pedro Pascal then gets like he makes himself shorter and waddles, completely mocking my entire existence. If I was younger, I would be horrified at what was going on. He's mocking people who are, in this case, 5'6". I am scraping 5'6". But imagine if it was worse than that. So he's like waddling, and he goes up to the woman and says, "Would you even consider me at this size?" And I'm like, do y'all understand people that are this exist and are like feel like our entire existence has just been reduced. I have going back to Captain America, I have a neighbor who's very short. And the reason why they didn't, in Captain America, the first reason why he gets the, whatever you call it, crazy about to kill me machine is because he's denied entry into the armed forces. He's trying to join World War II. Well, I got news for you. They would not have disqualified him for being too short. There are men who are that height who served. So not only is it fucked up to someone like me, it's actually fucked up to the short kings who actually served in World War II, who served and were short and had to probably overcome many things in order to do that and risk their ass. So Captain America to this day as a man is one of the most problematic movies in my entire existence and life. And I wish someone would talk about the horrible message. Could you imagine if that message was for women to get like bigger breasts, or for women to come out becoming more voluptuous and more busty? Like if Wonder Woman was flatter chested and then came out with, I don't know, bigger tits, and she said, and they asked, how do you feel? And she said, more voluptuous. Do you imagine the uproar that there would be? And rightfully so.
No, I definitely agree with you. I just think that for women and for girls, they just do it in much more subtle ways. Like if you watch like any 2010 rom-com movie, and the nerdy girl, she wears glasses, she wears more like, you know, like
Right,
a
right.
straight skirt, or a straight, I don't know, like less curvy things. And then she hangs out with the guy, takes off her glasses, and now all of her clothes are form fitting, and she's much, you know, has a much more hourglass figure or whatever. And then I think they might ask her like, "Hey, like, how do you feel?" She's like, "Oh, I feel beautiful. I feel pretty. I feel gorgeous." So I think, I think what I'm trying to say, what I think is that the way that a lot of men feel about their height is almost the way women feel about their looks, right? It's kind of like, oh, I have to look like this. I have to be this height in order to be accepted or loved by my partner or society as a whole.
Right. We have to think of this height to even qualify
Why?
us.
Yes.
And I think, right. And women have all this pressure on, women have an extreme amount of pressure on many things, even just in their being of like, you can't be too reserved, but at the same, because then you're a prude. But at the same time, if you're too open with your sexuality, you're slut shamed. So like women all around, no doubt. But to focus this kind of on the male body image perspective, it is something that I think we have at least come as a society to see as a bad thing for women when it exists. And it does exist. You watch anime all the time. Look at how the women are drawn. The women are drawn all the time in the gaze of men. So rightfully so, these things are called out. All I'm saying is I don't see the equal amount of calling out of these things that exist that are a problem for male bodies. And it should be, because if you're a guy my size watching that, you literally think in order to be accepted by women, I need to be a superhero. Do you know how like terrible that message is for men who are pretty short, shorter than, okay, and this is, I'm saying all this to get to Mr. Taraban. So I've gone through all that. Okay. I went through not getting my bones to grow much past the 9th grade. I went through being under 5. I'm under 5'7", barely 5'6". I went through that. For you to go on and talk as 5'11", like a complaint of something, is kind of like when you see celebrities talk about like being poor.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, I'm so poor. I can't even afford this. It's like, yeah, come to NYCHA housing, motherfucker. All right? Don't talk to me about that. I wouldn't, I may say I'm broke occasionally, but I know I'm not poor, because no matter how I feel, I, most of the time, once a month, no, but most of the time do have hot water. Except for that once a month that they try to warn us we're not going to have hot water, which is alone a problem, no doubt. But it's not the same as housing that can go days without it. I don't get mold. Do I get roaches like nights house? Yes. Do I hate that? Yes. But I have elevators that work. There's all these things that if you know, and obviously poverty can look different in different places. But my point is that what Dr. Taraban has effectively done in this is normalize something that has no reason to be normal. If a woman, I don't think it's right if a woman says, whatever, my masculinity is decreased or your masculinity is decreased because we're under the national average. But if you're above it, what the fuck are you? Who are you speaking to? I don't even know who you're speaking to, because this notion that women only date men that are 6 feet or only desire it is so stupid. I know what it's like to not have women, for women think you're too short. It's not a 6 foot rule. I'll tell you what it is. It's a not acceptable short rule. There's certain levels of he's short, but he's masculine enough, he's man enough. That's okay. It's not about being 6 feet, because if it was about 6 feet, there just wouldn't be enough human beings on Earth that would even meet this rule. Women don't expect men to be 6 feet most of the time. They may talk about it. They may talk about a guy's desired for it, and I'm saying, yeah, could that be a problem? Sure. Just like it's a problem when men talk about women having a fat ass, a slim thick, a thigh gap, and double D's. Right? That's a problem too. You can like these things, but you have to understand what you put out in the lexicon affects anyone who watches. It's one thing if this is your preference internally. It's another thing if you have a platform and you put it out there and a woman hears that. If you're like, I'm not going to say celebrity, but if you're a famous celebrity that's a man and you're like, I only date women, or I highly prefer women who have a thigh gap and double D's, it's making a woman who doesn't have those things feel inferior, because you have this huge platform and you've used it to talk about the type of women you like superficially. So it's like, if you normalize, even though he's trying to help men, you are almost normalizing the superficiality by saying that I'm 5'11". No, you're not even short. You're like you're actually helping the notion that this is a thing to discuss. Certain things that shouldn't even be discussed. For me, And according to his logic, by the way, unstoppable. But according to his logic, I basically am Captain fucking America, because somehow I have dated 6 feet women. Somehow I've dated women that are, no one would think is, I don't believe in fucking leagues, but I've dated, I don't want to get into it too much, but like women I've dated strippers. I've dated women who other men like would whatever objectively desire, and you know what, I did it not because there aren't problems. I get disqualified all the time. I did it in spite of those things, and just continue to believe that some women won't marry. I will be interesting enough that they'll consider a guy who's not sexy just is. That is the message to give men, not tolerate your height. I agree with him in the contempt part. There is a certain level of societal contempt I do have, half of which is what he's saying, but also because we don't talk about men's height in a way that I think is especially meaningful, just like I would want people to talk about women's bodies and different body shapes being beautiful in a meaningful way. I think the standards are not nonsensical, and it shouldn't be tied to masculinity. But and I agree you need humor, but a better message would have been, men, you can be short. You will find women who will use height as a disqualifier. There are people out there who will not. There are people out there who, especially if you're 5'7" and up, who their entire male family is your height. Go to the Philippines, go to South America, go to places where men on average are shorter. Like, this is a very Americanized thing. That's the real world advice. And if you're someone who's shorter than that, like me, learn how to, like Prince said, just be. And no matter what they thought beforehand, be the best version of yourself. And you'd be surprised how many people suddenly reconsider what they thought is the only way to be sexy. So that's my addressing of his whatever type of advice that was. But even though you're taller, as someone who is still not 5'11", like, what did you take from any of that for your life as a man?
So the first thing I thought of when he said I was 5'11", I remember during COVID, some celebrities took their boats and yachts together to spell out "We're in this together," thinking that they were doing something.
Oh my god.
All right, that's what it felt like to me. It was kind of like, man, don't even you don't even know. That's one. Secondly, um, I was curious. I just looked it up real quick. How many men are 6 feet and tall in the world, right? At least according to the stats. Let's see what the source is from. The sources.
USA though, because remember, other countries on average just have taller people, like in the Nordic countries.
Oh no, I understand, but I want to use the world because this is the world, right?
Yeah, right. It goes to the world. I see what you
Right.
mean. Yeah.
There are theoretically more options from the world than just America, right?
Mhm.
So according to looks like a couple different sources like NCES.com, RATI, RATI.com, medicinenet.com. Approximately 14% of adult males are 6 feet and taller. 14%, right? We're talking about of the entire world. So if the requirement is you have to be 6 feet or taller, you have theoretically knocked off what 86%.
86%. Do a favor for me. Can you, since you have it open, can you do under 5'7"? I'm just curious if it's a similar percent.
All right, let's see.
Just under 5'7", not a specific height. I bet you it's going to be close.
All right, so it doesn't give me a percentage. It just says that with precise global counts are not feasible, it is reasonable to estimate that over 3 billion men are under 5'7".
I'm sorry. That's more than I would ever think. Over 3 billion? You know there's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So it's even more-
one reason is because India, India has 1.7 billion people by themselves, and the average height in India is 5'3" to 5'5".
Okay, and you know where else it's like that? In Yemen. You know where else it's like that? Bolivia. This is why I'm saying he's he's worse in my mind than Galloway with this, because Galloway, I think, at least to some extent, is for a very specific group of people actually giving very pointed advice. He doesn't necessarily always say his blind spots, but Mr. Taraban, like, bro, you're a doctor. How do you not understand that the better advice to give men is actually think about where there are women from different cultures that value different things. And there are some women where height doesn't matter as much. How do you not go there? And also, if you're talking about like I always say, if you're 5'7" and up, most of the advice I would give is almost the same advice. If you're below 5'7", I would take you aside and say we got more work to do. But if you're 5'7" and if you're 5'7" above, I don't want to hear it. Okay, because men have been objectively attracted. What I mean by that is you don't have to have Prince talents. If you have any sort of fame, just a little bit of fame, look at who is found attractive and masculine. Okay, D'Angelo, may he rest in peace, wasn't even 5'7", and women love D'Angelo. Okay, well, he's not a great example because he was close to being as talented as Prince, so I shouldn't say that. But Tom Cruise, okay, he ain't as talented as Prince. I don't care what the fuck he says. Zayn Malik from One Direction, Tom Holland, Spider-Man. Okay, these guys are seen as objectively attractive celebrities, but it's not necessarily because of like. It's a little. The reason I put Prince as separate is because Prince also plays fucking 50 instruments, so it's like it's a little different when your talent is at that level. Not saying it's not talented to act, but it's not really the same thing when someone does something that is such a small percentage of people can physically do. There's a large portion of people that can act that then can play as many instruments as D'Angelo and Prince. So, but just in how they look, not just in what they do, just in how they look, people find these people attractive. Okay? So I don't want to hear it. Zac Efron's only 5'8". I don't want to hear it. If you're 5'7" and above, take good care of yourself. Have a beard if you can. If you can't grow a beard, get facial hair that you can groom, even if it's just a mustache. I could write a whole fucking book. It's not as hard to be physically attractive if you're 5'7" and up at all. You will find women. This is where growing up in New York City helps. I grew up around Latinos. I grew up around Arab people. I grew up around Indian people, grew up South Asian people, people of all walks of life. Many of them were like between 5'7" and 5'10". I have a few friends who are 6 feet tall, but if you go in the New York City subway, you're going to see some people who are like men and 5'3", and that should fucking exist, not break your mental computer. So like, I just think we had an opportunity to do something here, and we did not use it well. And again, why everybody should be giving us money, because we can represent a message that doesn't fucking exist. And on top of that, just like in the movie The Materialist, they could have done something there too with height, and they chose not to. So it does get to me. This is why I wanted to shift the initial video to this, because I have very strong feelings having lived through this, and also kind of getting over it in many ways, that I want to help other men who are short and who are taller than me and have it better than they think. And with this whole 5'11" bullshit, he's kind of he's making it seem worse than it really is. And the worst thing for these guys who influence men is to make things worse than it is for them, to make them have less hope. So yeah, learn to make peace with it. That's a good message, but also be realistic about when there's a problem and when there's not. Internally, there's no objective problem with being short. Societally, yes, but that is not at 5'11". That is about, I say, if you're about the height of the average woman, right, which is 5'5" about, then it becomes more of a problem to women, because women want the differentiation between most women. Like, if you're about the height of most women, as a man, you're not differentiating yourself visually as much from other women. And one of the things a lot of women look for is masculine traits. It can be a little effeminate, I suppose, if you're that short. So you gotta out-brolic your thing. So like, I think we get into that territory where it becomes a societal problem, in quotes, when you're closer to how tall women are on average. If you're anything above 5'7", where a 5'7" woman is considered tall for a woman, like, trust me, there's a path for you. That's not nearly as hard as you think it is. So don't listen to this.
One thing I want to, I guess, remember. What was the thing he said? Contempt.
And Olivier's married and I'm 5'11".
I'm not 5'11". I'm not 5'11".
He said have a little bit. I said he's married and he's under 5'11", so that's something for you.
Oh yeah. I am under 5'11". I'm 5'9". Oh, Evan's gone. They got him. Excuse me, they got him. Yeah, my man was speaking too much hot fire for being under 5'7". That's what they did. They took him out. They do this every episode. They take him out once, take him out twice, take him out 3 times. You're out. That's it. Like they do this to him every single time. Is he back? Is he here?
Said you are an example of success. This shit cuts out.
I mean, I appreciate the compliment. Sometimes I do. What's that phrase saying? The curse of success. It's like, yes, yes. I am married with a child, but now I have to maintain it. Now I have to work on doing that every day for the rest of my life.
Well, so you're basically the Yankees. You have to maintain high expectations. You got to keep series every year. But in some ways, I mean, but anyway, you were saying, yes, he talked about kind of this healthy contempt. And to some extent, I think what he's saying
what was the phrase he called
kind
it? I forgot the
Well,
name of
first
the
he said
phrase.
cope with your height. And cope
Yeah,
is-
yeah, yeah. Cope with the
And I
height, but it was-
understand.
I just forgot the name of it because to be honest,
Like healthy contempt.
Healthy contempt. Yeah, to me,
Something like that, yeah.
like okay, so for me, whenever I hear him speak about certain things and use certain words, right? I'm like, I just feel like you're just replacing easier words sometimes, right? You need a healthy contempt. I'm just like, you
Yes.
need confidence, right? And to me, at least my definition of confidence is not like it's not like you're boasting, being like, "Hey, look at me, I'm so great." No, confidence it just means like you generally just don't care enough, or it doesn't bother you enough about whatever the people want to talk to you about, right? Um, like okay, like for example, like I think I said the story a few weeks ago. It was a meeting after school, and then one of my co-teachers said like, "Oh, Olivier inspired me," and another person, "All right, that's funny. Like that can never happen, right?" I busted out laughing, right? Because I have confidence as to who I am as a person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas you need to have a healthy contempt. I'm just like, man, I get it. You're a doctor. You're trying to make yourself sound smart. Nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it's kind of like what I feel like is that a lot of other men don't fully understand what those words mean because 54% of adults can't read past 6th grade in America, and they're like, "Oh, I want to use that," and then run with that thing, and then be like, "Well, I have healthy contents about my whatever this is or whatever that is." Not understand the fact that like, nah, man, he's just trying to make himself sound a little smarter. I think that's one, and the other portion is the fact that like I feel like his audience is definitely like I would say like pseudo red pillars, right? Like the guys who are
Yeah,
on the edge a little
Right.
bit.
He's starting to lean there, yeah.
Yeah. Where they can like now use his words to justify how they feel. Be like, but he's not a red pill guy. It's like, no, he's not. But
But he's a
definitely
doctor.
he's a doctor, and he's definitely saying the right words to make other men who are I'll say ostracized or don't know how to socialize healthy
Right.
or all the time, and like, oh, I can vindicate myself. I don't have I don't have this thing, I don't have that thing. Not understanding the fact that like, no, you're being played a little bit, like you're being lied to just a little bit, because he does need the attention and views and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but it bothers me because he is a smart guy and he could use this so much differently. Like I said, this is an important. It's an important topic. He brings up a lot of important topics. It's just like he's going in a way that I do not believe is helpful to men. Like, what is, as a guy making peace? Yes, is that important? Sure. Using
Yeah.
humor, sure. But
absolutely.
what he's doing instead is not talking about. So another thing I would say, like, is like actual things that you should use, psychological things you should use, and an important interesting data. You know, it's an interesting fact. Women tend to bond like this, face to face, like this. Men tend to bond side to side. So me and you are walking and we're talking like this. If you're shorter, you get more of an advantage here. So what you should do is use the fact in a positive way that you actually are a part of a bonding thing that she's used to doing perhaps with women. Now, some men would say, yeah, but I don't want to be a woman. And it's like, well, to me, this is the same thing as you denying like that the female gaze is sexy. Like, you actually can be, there's certain things that is feminine, or that is something that women would find attractive. And it actually can build a genuine bond with women when you're always closer to being eye to eye. That's all I ever wanted to be, is like eye to eye with more women. But yeah, so that's an interesting psychological fact that I would have used if I was him, but I have 11, so he's taller than most women.
So as you know, I have the maturity of a middle school child.
Yeah, you're closer to titties and also closer to pussy. I'm aware of that one too.
You were like, you have more advantage here, and I was just like, you look at her titties.
Yes, but okay. Sure, access easier once, but we're talking about getting to the first point where titties are not in play until like we've reached certain levels with people, unless we're fucking lunatics.
Yes, agreed.
So, but
agreed.
yeah.
Agreed.
But you know, we need to show that we have peripherals and not we have discipline.
Last year
yeah.
I went to a comedy show with my friends, and the first comedian who came up, I think he was maybe 5'6", the most was 5'7", right? And he made fun of his height. He's like, you know, it's like, you know, a lot of guys out here doing sexual harassment, this and the third. He's like, but like someone like me, it's more like cute, you know, because like I have to reach up. and then when I do it, they go like, get out of here. All right, yeah.
Well, guys listening, don't take this literally.
Don't take it seriously. But the comedian came up and he was just riffing on his own height, and
yes.
it worked, and it was funny.
It's funny. It's funny for comedy, sure. You know, but again, what I always go to is this notion of we think a whole bunch of things when we're writing online. Whatever, writing a fucking think piece or talking about relationships with our friends or writing or reposting something on social media. What I would tell a lot of short men, especially men who are under 5'7", is she hasn't met you yet. So she may have an idea of an avatar, right? That is whatever height. But she hasn't met you. And that's kind of like the quote I use from David Cohn is, they ain't seen my curveball. Meaning that you may hit other people's curveball well. You haven't seen mine. So, and again, to our short king in the sky prince, sexy just be. If you'd be surprised, people, you don't look of it to yourself. Maybe you never thought you'd be attracted to a woman that's 6 feet tall. Maybe you never thought you'd be attracted to a woman who weighs significantly more than you. But guess what? A lot of times when they in your face and you feeling something sexy, you'd be surprised when you give someone your full attention and a full chance. So I think that a lot of this advice is really skating over the nature of the unexpected interpersonal relational nature of two people. And as I like to say, in New York, big cities, New York is home of the phenomenal outlier. That's what I always like to say about New York. Absolutely. You're always going to find something that you wouldn't read in a book as statistically generally true, but it happens. I have a friend who's fucking, he married a woman 5 inches taller than him. And you know what? No one would think that would happen. And they're interracial too. He's Dominican, she's Indian. And it's like all these things, interracial, interreligious, she's taller, didn't matter when they met. And if you live in a big city, especially, I'm sorry, if you live in a small fucking bumblefuck town, you especially got no reason looking for 6 foot motherfuckers. You got fewer options. Or if you're a man, double D's or whatever, you should see what the options, if you're not planning on leaving your town, you should be happy with the options there or leave and find more options. Fine. But don't be looking to optimize wherever you are. Don't be looking to always optimize. But I think especially if you're in a big city, we get kind of lost in that. And like, let the interaction happen with an open mind, and many times good things will happen. I want to go to messages about sex and ED, which is the next one. Which is the next one with Dr. Rina Malik, who I think is really great. And I think whenever men say like, a lot of women don't care about us, like she's one of the people I point to and say she really does give a shit about. Also, she's a urologist. She kind of has to care about us. But anyway, I'm going to share this. And
disgust towards themselves, not necessarily a disgust towards like a specific body part or a specific odor or fluid, but more like, a disgust that maybe the appearance of their body, maybe the performance of their body, maybe they just feel broken, that can then translate to sort of disgust. So how is that different, and can that also be overcome similarly, or is there a different approach?
Yes, so what you're referring to we call self-disgust, and sometimes it overlaps very much with what we refer to as mental contamination. And we see this sometimes towards specific parts of themselves, but can also be, I think it's best phrased as the distance between your actual self and your ideal self. And some men experience it, for example, when they think of having sex with a younger person, for example, and they feel so much shame, so much disgust towards parts of like their being, or when a woman is sexually mistreated, that they feel this like philosophical dirt. We on movies we watch people that have been cheated on, or they cheated on their partner, and then they are washing away this philosophical disgust, this philosophical dirt. I think this is the best way to see it, and that's even more complex to unlearn when compared to the disgust towards external stimuli. And for this type of disgust, I will try to understand what is the cognitive snapshot of the person that is triggering this anxiety, this disgust, towards more exploration and giving time. I think now it's a very anxiety state to be in a way. So I feel it might be helpful to focus from the judgment to really exploring, to try to understand rather than, oh, I'm failing again. But in this process, I believe we very much neglected or imposed a judgmental stance. And I would say that the culture, the sexual scripts and the culture that we have now, at some point we were very much neglecting female sexual pleasure, like we were, and I'm guilty of that as well, that we focus very much on re-examining and try to put now women's sexual pleasure on a platform. But in this process, I believe we very much neglected or imposed certain ideas on men. But men are under tremendous pressure. They need to come not too late, not too early, always be ready and steady. And I think now it's a very anxiety state to be in a way. So I feel it's we have so many tasks, and especially in long-term relationships, sex becomes a task, yet another task. And because of that, and this is more common indeed in long-term relationships, where we also conducted some studies on this, where because sex is now on the back burner, we don't give time, we don't have time for it, so we do it as quickly as is possible. So we don't have time for pleasure, we don't have time to really be. And this is why I say for increases the risk of pain, and we know the high incidence of pain during intercourse in women is way more higher than we used to think. But in addition to that, for men, it's not because we see an erection there is a pleasure, but it really creates anxiety, and then we see more problems of delayed ejaculation, or if you have a problem with coming early, this is fueled with this anxiety because the pleasure is sucked out of this environment.
Okay, just want to stop. So I just want to plug this back in. So yeah, for this week, fucking computer. For this week, we hear women who are discussing men and our plight many times, which doesn't get discussed when it comes to sexual anxiety occasionally. And it's a very taboo topic because a lot of men don't want to talk about it, and you want to talk about something the red pillars will never address. This is it, among other things, because, like we talked about, talking about sex is not really part of the lexicon if you're not smashing it, killing it, beating it up. Like, the things that we go through and that women go through actually from a meaningful perspective in sex and intimacy, not really discussed. So the first one I think that's important is body image. a lot of people don't think about men with their body image, but men can have body image issues too, from dick size and shape and whatever, to also any other part of them being overweight, feeling like the woman won't like them when they're naked. Some men I've heard say, I was worried, so I kept my shirt on. I didn't want her to see this part of me, that part of me. Like, again, this is where we, I think, in our own way, kind of objectify men as these like, non-sensitive, non-emotional, robotic, sexual beings. And it's like, well, yeah, because we've been society made us seem like if we were anything else, it'd be a problem. Truth of the matter is, men can have all these problems and they can have all these insecurities. So the first part I want to talk about is it's important for us to love ourselves and our bodies going into anything, or else you might not be ready for sex. Like men, like I'll get to that later, but like she says, like we're not, these ready automatic things either. So for some of us, like this is why I like touching words of affirmation of my love languages. Is I don't just want a woman to tell a woman she's sexy. I like when she sometimes tells me, shit, that's nice to hear. So like, I don't know, did you have a journey through saying like, I'm good with how I look when I'm in this very, kind of intimate state?
Yeah. My journey, to be honest. So when I was in high school, I didn't like my body image. I thought I was too fat, too pudgy. Also I didn't. Girls wasn't really talking to me or even looking my way.
Right, as we hit this very important.
Did we lose Evan? I feel like we lost Evan. Evan might be gone. Evan's definitely gone. They got my boy again. 3 times. 3 strikes, you're out. They got my boy again. Yep, we definitely lost him, Perfect Derby. We definitely lost him. It's gone. It's a damn shame. But I guess I'll continue on. Essentially, at least from my perspective, I had a difficulty of growing up with the way I looked in high school. High school through college. I was fortunate enough to have a relationship in college that would make me feel a little more positive about myself, or at least be accepting of my body shape. And then after that college relationship ended, started working out, and then I felt good. Bum ass for rice. Oh, jeez. Oh, this is. Evan, I'm so glad you're here in the chat, man. This is. Oh, I said he's gone. He's gone. They got him. FBI, CIA, red pills. They got him. Took him out. It's just me. It's just it can't be one. It's just me by myself. Anywhoosies. What I'll add on is the fact that I had a relationship with this person.
Just when you like, this is a very important topic that we're both revealing about like intimate sides of ourselves in our past. And the second we fucking start that, Brian's like, nope. Fuck y'all bitch ass podcast with emotions and shit. Anyway, sorry. So you were saying like before in high school, you didn't, I guess, summarize it for these. If I ever meet the CEO, I'm gonna lose it, and I'm gonna say you didn't Bronx test shit, and I'm mad. But anyway, so I heard. What was that process through high school and getting through to where you are now?
For me in high school was I hear an echo of myself.
Let me see this. This can't be changed while recording. Echo cancellation.
Oh,
Do you still hear an echo?
oh, yeah, yeah.
Hold on. If
Hold
I
it.
mute myself, let's see.
Oh. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3. Testing. Yeah, when you mute yourself, I don't hear an echo of myself. All right, so in high school, essentially was the fact that I had nothing. No, I didn't have much. I had a little online girlfriend. No girls really liked me in high school. They really looked me, pay attention to me like that. There was one girl I had a crush, a thing, situationship. It didn't work out because I was stupid. And then in college, dated someone, and I felt safe enough with that person for emotional reasons. Because of the emotions, I felt safe enough to be, to literally be naked. And then that relationship ended, and then I started working out. It wasn't until I started working out where I had more self confidence in myself. But no matter how much lost, Jesus Christ, no matter how much weight I lost or how much muscles I put on, it just never felt enough. All right. And then I started dating someone during COVID. And just as you said before, like, to be honest, I was one of those guys who had to put on a shirt, while being physically intimate, because I just didn't feel comfortable. But then at least a bit of a retrospect, I guess is the word I'm trying to think of. It's also because like that person just wasn't emotionally intelligent enough to handle that. The I guess in terms of clothes is wearing a wife beater. That's the most I got to, is wearing a wife beater. And that relationship ended. Then my wife's my wife. So at this point, at least for myself, I was kind of like, like for me, it's kind of, Olivier, you are who you are. You built what you built. Like, if they like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. And to be honest, I have been made fun of for honestly for the size that I have. I had a person, we're talking on the phone, talking about essentially our sex life, sex stories, and then sizes came up. I mentioned my size, legit laughed in my face, legitimately laughed in my face. So, I mean, at the time it hurt, but also in hindsight, it's kind of like, you know what, whatever. It's not for you. So all that to say is the fact that, at least for myself, I had to. I was fortunate enough to have people who were open enough and somewhat healthy enough to allow me to be uncomfortable with my own skin. And then coincidentally, at least a few weeks ago, I was looking at a video of myself at this point, like what, during COVID, 2019, so what, 7 years ago now, right? Now I'm at 240 pounds. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I was looking at myself. Oh, Evan's gone. They got my boy. All right, they keep getting my boy. They keep getting my boy. I said they keep getting my boy. They just keep getting him. Right? Each time I think we're about to do something, about to cook up something real nice, they get my boy. Huh? He's off? No, he's not off. It's just internet. He's back? He's back. Right. He's back. At least it looks like it says he's up.
I'm back.
He's back.
I heard dad and husband, and then it told me to refresh, or else it's not going to load. Yes, you're now your dad, now your husband. Congratulations on working on your physical shape and health. Sorry, that's where I got before you cut. Continue.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I was looking at my a video of myself from like 7 years ago. I still didn't call myself that's fine. And I was like, damn, I was really skinny. And I think about the TV show Arrested Development. It's like, hey, take a photo of yourself of wherever you're at, right, when you're younger, because when you get older, you're gonna have softer eyes. And I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more with that statement. I accept the fact that I'll never get back to that weight and size. It's just I don't think it's possible. But I do enjoy. No, I do enjoy working out as a whole, and now I'm at a point where I'm not gonna be. I say I love my physique. I'm the best thing ever. Absolutely not. That is narcissistic as hell. I'm at a point where I'm like I'm comfortable. I'm good. My body's functional, and that's what matters. Right. My wife loves me. Jen, you like me, right?
Yeah.
You sure?
Duh.
Does good.
Mm-hmm.
Having child is good proof with individual.
I'm dead.
But no, I mean, it's not extra cocky if you love yourself and your body. We're always trying to improve it, but you can love your body and not say it's better than anyone else's. Just that you love it and that you're happy with it and that you're always working to improve it. But I've...
No, I didn't get rid of again.
Okay. I've had multiple relationships where someone said something, and that wasn't great. Usually, even when I was in bed, they're like, "Oh, you're so skinny," twice. So I made it a goal to gain weight and muscle, and I did. And then when I gained weight and muscle, and I even told someone how hard it was for me, because I had people say, "I could see you getting lean, but I can't see you gaining weight and muscle." And I'm like, "I'm going to eat like there's no tomorrow, motherfucker, and you're going to see." And even I used to be at 9% body fat. I like being like this better because I always wanted to weigh more. And even when I got worked out a lot and got lean, I still felt too skinny. And now I'm like at 17, 18% body fat, but I prefer it. I'll rather of course, keep my muscle and get the body fat closer to like 10, 12. But you know what? I like this. And I was even with someone at one point, and she was like, "Oh, but," I also think she may have had autism, which is aside because it means that the social interactions might not be malicious, but might just be like not the best thing to say. It was also her first relationship. And she was like, "Yeah, but it could be better." And I'm like, and part of me is like, I'm not with a lot of women who are happy with this, by the way, but I'm choosing you. So, I don't really want to hear that. But she didn't say it out of, I think, malice. She said it out of someone who's constantly working out, like every morning at the gym, very active lifestyle. And I play baseball and I work out, but I had other priorities. Also, the main priority for me was to gain weight. And I explained this to her, and she still didn't process really that, like, for me, gaining weight was the big deal. I grew up too skinny, or I felt too skinny. And especially as a shorter guy, I didn't want to be another thing counted against me. So, you need to be with someone, and I found women who are perfectly fine with my body as is, but you need to find someone like that. And I also think that, unfortunately, a lot of us, when we're young, have experiences where someone else isn't quite secure enough in their body. And if someone's not secure enough in their body many times, they might not be as kind to yours. And it's not fair. And I think many times as men, we know, like, ideally, the cardinal rule is, of course, in an intimate space, you should never ever criticize a woman's body. I'm not saying that some assholes out there haven't, but it's the last thing that would be on my mind. But I think some women kind of, again, it's like we have we're Teflon. Like, and if we're not Teflon, it's a problem. So if I'm saying you're too skinny, you shouldn't have a problem with it. But, think about it in the macro. Like, this is someone you want to be your intimate partner. I remember once that same woman I was dating, like she said, "Hey, actually, how tall are you?" I'm like, "We've seen each other naked, motherfucker. Like, don't, whatever it is, it is." She's like, "No, but I want to tell my friend." I'm like, "No, because it's never going to go well." No one's ever like, "Oh my God, he's under 5'7". Oh yeah. No one does that. So like, I know what the reaction's going to be. So let's not do that. Let's just not. Just like, why don't you just tell her nice things about me like I told every single one of my friends about you? But, you know, we kind of forget that men can have experiences too where they are self-conscious about this. So I understand why a lot of men maybe internally have this. It shouldn't be discussed as a strong word. I hope not. But then how that can lead to the second part of what she's talked about, which is performance. I hate that we even use that word. To me, performance is Garrett Cole went 8 innings and struck out 12 people. That's performance. That's baseball. That's sports. Sex ain't performance. Sex is something you share. It's something you enjoy together. Performance is athleticism. Performance is like, I consider this an activity to be shared. As society, we framed it as like someone is good in bed, bad in bed. As we framed it as not these are two people who communicate with each other. How would I, if I'm to accept all women are different and all bodies are different, how am I to know between two women that the exact same thing is enjoyed? Some people like certain touch rougher. Some people like more gentle. Some people like some positions and not others. Some people like, it's such a spectrum that as men, you should know the anatomy, no fucking doubt. But you shouldn't act like every woman is like a schematic in the same blueprint. And part of any sort of sexual encounter is the other person. So what I think Dr. Charmaine was talking about, the guest, is that this notion of it entirely being up to them, like sex is all up to us, like whether it's good or bad, like then it's not, then it can't truly be that sex is something that's shared if it's up to one person to make it good. It's up to both people to make it good. And that's true with men understanding and women, but especially men understanding that sex is not just penetration, that many in general, population level, women arousal is different than male level. Now, for me, it's actually very similar because I like all the lead up and shit. Some men don't. But we really need to understand these things, I think. Yeah, now the connection's going to do its shit. That's good sex ed. That's good sex advice. Not here's how every woman likes it. That's every woman really likes to be choked in 50 Shades of Grey shit. It's like, no, women are different. No, learn about the female anatomy. Okay. As I say, find stairway 1 roof access. It's because of the meme that put that as the clitoris that I say, find stairway 1 roof access. But know that every woman is going to have different intricacies of touch and things she like, roughness, and it's fluid. And yes, the 6th grade brain that we both have says, of course it's fluid. It's yes, I understand. But the notion of sex being fluid and that things change, I can tell there's a delay because now you're laughing, is that it's, and that takes the ego out of it, right? Because men want to be like, I'm going to be a dog no matter who it is. I know everything. And like, or I always get mine and I don't give a shit about hers or some shit like that. So that's the real advice men need. And I like that Dr. Charmaine was saying also that this, in order for that to happen, both people need to be present, communicate. And even a one night stand, sometimes especially a one night thing, because these are strangers. People need to be able to communicate with each other. So yeah, I think that is also what creates the anxiety in some men's head, whether they'll admit it or not, that leads to what we call performance anxiety, but also can just be an overall anxiety about sex and about, don't be too fast, don't take too long, don't do this. And I've known women that really do believe that. Like it's like within 15 minutes you gotta fucking do all this shit. And it's like, bro, whoa, we ain't this ain't football. There's no quarters here. Okay. But anyway, like I think those are some pressure messages that we get as men. And I mean, did you grow up kind of seeing it like kind of like performance, like, you know, if you needed to do a triple double or something?
Yeah, but first I want to say shout out to Perfect Derby. I don't know who you are, but thank you for commenting, whatever you're doing. So shout out to Perfect Derby. I don't say first and foremost of that. Secondly,
yes, shout out to listening and commenting. You're right. Thank you.
Secondly, what I want to say is that at least for myself, the performance, that type of thing, I've had it since high school. Right. When I was watching some adult films in high school and college, I was like, you know what I got to do? I got to be a perfect husband. Right. I got to satisfy my wife as much as possible, as much as I can. All these things, right? Be a giver, because like based off my measurement as a virgin, I was like 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? I don't know sex. I didn't know sex. But then also, at least for myself as a demisexual, it's kind of like I have had partners where it literally does just feel like a physical activity, and in some ways, yes, it is a performance. It's just kind of like I'm just here because you asked me to be here, and you said we could be here. There's been times where there's no emotional connection. I don't care about this, and I just keep going. And I had a partner who's kind of like, you take too long, and I was like, well, you're not really open with me emotionally, so I can't really, get there sooner. But if you want me to get this, let's have some emotions. But again, they were emotionally immature, but that's beside the point. But yeah, do I have performance anxiety? No, because I go with whatever happens. I think of it as improv. I've had one partner.
I want to ask that specifically.
I've had one partner. No, say it again.
I just wanted your overall experience, not suggesting that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, I do. I mean, I think I would say sex. I would say sex is a good way to look at it as improv, right? You try and figure it out, whatever it is. After a while, you get to a routine of things being like, you know what, I like this, I like that, whatever it is, that's fine. Shoot, I had a point. I forgot what it was. I guess it wasn't that good. But yeah, I do think that like having as a but yeah, I do think that like having as improv as a yeah, exactly. Doing a yes and. But so like for example, I had one partner, we're going at it, things were going fine, and I got mine, right? I got mine. Now I feel like this if I was somehow someone else or whatever, I'd be like, oh no, it's over. I can't do anything else. I'm like, nah, relax, breathe. Like I'm gonna get my second win. So we did some other things. Did I mention? Did I say explicitly? I mean, I asked first, like, hey, do you want this? You want this? Yeah, I want that. And then did that. And then went back to town. Right. So now that works out. So I think also the performance is like you freeze because you don't have a bag for love in terms of basketball, right? You don't have a certain skill set, and you're like, I only have one move, and I only have one thing I'm good at. I'm like, guys, relax. You need to have at least two. Whatever it is, you need to have at least two. And then within those two, at least to me, within those two, whatever it is, you got to know how to do it at different rates and pressure. Right? You don't have to master everything all at once. No. No one's a master at everything. It's impossible. Right? But you got to have at least two. And a kid that graduated years ago, he's in college now. He's like, well, why two? I'm like, what's your favorite meal? He's like, oh, spaghetti. Do you want to eat spaghetti every single day? He's like, no. When you want to have something else as a break in between, he's like, yeah, there you go. There you go. You want a variation. You want a variation.
Right. Just to add to that, Esther Perel and some other people call it a script. So a sexual script. And after a certain point, the script works or it doesn't. And to your point about what Dr. Charmaine was talking about was play. And she said, good sex, why doesn't good sex have laughter? And it's so true. We don't like the way, again, it is made into a performance of prowess, not like this, especially male dominated, not something that is shared, enjoyed, that, like you said, is improv, that can change from day to day, woman to woman. And we want that message. This is what I don't understand, is kind of like by making it look like men are the source of good or bad sex, what you actually have created is men who can be very arrogant and care less about the fact that women are different. Because if women are different, they actually can't be insanely great with everyone from day one because they have to learn about them. And in fact, as Dr. Charmaine was talking about, different women have pain during, like it's really important as a man that you understand that your partner's comfort is very important, and certain things that are less painful or more enjoyable for one woman may not be for another. Some women like I call it breath play, because I don't take any interest in saying I choke someone. To me, that's like very violent. But some people like that. Okay, one hand breath play, fine. Some people like certain things rougher. Some people like certain things more gentler. Some people like, their vulva touched different ways. That is, if all of that is true, and it is, how the hell is someone you just met fucking 2 hours ago, how did you get the schematic? Okay, you didn't. Did someone airdrop you the fucking vagina, the vagina monologues, the vagina notes? Of course not. So you have to be a good communicator. You do as a man, and you should study the anatomy to know something that generally is working. But women do too, which is another problem. I dated one. She was like, why did you ask all these questions? Men don't ask all these questions. Like, she's used to men who just kind of in and out. I call it, for those who are old enough to remember, I call it Splinter Cell. I don't know if you remember the game Splinter Cell. That motherfucker was in and out. In and out, no detection. Just in, out. I don't give a fuck about
Everyone's in and out. They got him again. Oh, Evan was in and out. Shout out to bum ass Verizon. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, he said in and out. He literally went in and out. Oh, I have the
Verizon.
I see you just pulled your move. You went in and out.
Oh,
you went in and out.
Exactly. So anyway, point being, unfortunately, many people get used to certain things, men and women, and men get used to a certain selfish, many times, way of looking at sex as almost like just a vehicle for their pleasure. And a lot of women get used to seeing men like that. So when men actually care and listen and ask questions, it's almost like, whoa, what the fuck is happening here? Right? But as the doctor said, and as both of them really, and as you've mentioned, improv, play, we need to reframe sex from performance to mutual enjoyment and intimacy, and prioritizing each other's pleasure and prioritizing just touch, and like it not being this thing where it's like you feel like the Olympics, like, the judges when they fucking putting up like 8, 6, dick was 6, hands were 8, Tongue Game, bro. That one was a 7.5. But it's like, you know, you're not gonna do well feeling like that. The other thing I just want to say, just like as a guy, like motherfuckers could just be tired. like I'm not. We're not 16, 17 anymore. There are times when if you want to do it at like 3 a.m., I'm thinking, why didn't you want this 4 hours ago? My ass is done. I gotta wake up the homie downstairs. Go time. Go time. Let's do it. And he's like, bro, tap out. And I'm like, nope, it's go time. And it's like it's not always easy. Like Dr. Tremaine said, like we can't always be like ready on demand. So that also needs to be understood, I think, about our bodies, honestly.
What I was gonna add was, at least in terms of like how a lot of males are selfish, right? Which I agree, right? A lot of males are definitely selfish, but and I've told you before, my personal thing with whoever I'm with, I always want to be in the conversation like, oh, you know, that was good, right? That is always my goal. Um, and as I told you before, like I have accomplished that. Um, it was a friend of a friend. We had a I've never had an official one night stand. We had a one night weekend essentially, right? We did our thing because they're visiting New York for like a weekend, and I had made a video with the mutual friend, and they're like, "Oh, I really like that guy." I was like, "Oh, whoa, wait, whoa, wait, whoa."
For a second, I was like, whoa, what's happening? What's happening here is you I hope your wife understands. But yeah, not like that. Not like that.
I have a really good knack of saying things out of context. um, as a side story, once I was working with this 50-year-old woman, and we're at an elevator, and this guy walks by, and I was like, oh, I know who that guy is. She's like, oh, really? I was like, yeah. You know, I knew him when I was in Paris, and all I said was like, yeah, he's a really good he's a really good friend, but he's a bad boyfriend. I left it at that. And then she looked at me, and I said, wait, no, wait, no. No, and she's like, Olivier, I don't judge, right? If that's what you like, that's what you like. I'm like, no. What happened was, like, we would hang out as friends and be fine, but he was cheating on his girlfriend in Paris at the time, multiple times. So that's why he's a bad boyfriend. And she's like, okay, if that's what you say. So yeah, I have a pretty good knack of saying things out of context and not putting in the correct context. But what I meant to say was, I made a dance video with the mutual friend, and then the person saw the video, was like, oh, I think Olivia's attractive. And I was like, all right, cool. They came to visit New York for a weekend. We had our thing. And then I found out later on through the mutual friend, like, no, they think you're a good partner. So I was like, all right, I could die with that. And also my wife, of course. She could be lying to me. Who knows? Did we lose him again? It's like the 17th time we lost Evan.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I heard you. To be clear, so you don't need to do the AI synopsis. But I heard you. But I'm a little confused about the whole bad boyfriend thing. You needed to like give some extra details there, because like I'm confused who's who here. Are you saying that someone that you were interested in was present when someone else said that?
No. So I was at the elevator with my coworker.
Did you freeze now? Okay, now you're gonna. Now I see you.
So I was at the elevator with my coworker.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was, the guy walked past, and I was like, "Oh, I know who that is." What happened was, the guy walked past, and I was like, "Oh, I know who that is."
Oh, okay. So a guy walked past while you were with your coworker.
Yes.
And said that.
Yes.
But you were not cheating on anyone.
No, I wasn't. The guy who was walking past, he was cheating on his girlfriend in Paris multiple times.
He's the bad boyfriend. That's what makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, sorry. I was just like, Verizon's causing drama for no reason here. We already got enough. I'm just plugging this in. 1 second. But yeah, so I think that's a very honorable thing to want. That you want essentially a post mention, like you you want what we all want, to be remembered. Y'all, okay. All right. Now I got this plugged in for charging. Yeah, when we get a studio and we get like normal fucking audio equipment, we're gonna kill it because we're doing this with nothing. All right.
This is
Anyway,
and perfect.
Yeah, and thank you, yeah. But I'm saying, like, even just everything that's going on here, like, you think all these other motherfuckers when they were starting influencers that they had fucking Bronx Verizon? I know. Anyway, I respect that. For me, what is very honorable to feel as a man is when you are mentioned as a source of fantasy. And on Three Step, to me, that's my version of your Hollywood Walk of Fuck fame. Like, that's my version of that. I got no reason. I have no idea what motherfuckers say to each other, but I'll say this much: if you tell me that, I'll always remember that you said that, and I have evidence, like that I have text or remembering you telling me that, because, like, to me, you know the beginning of Izzo, when Jay-Z says, "You could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me," and I appreciate that. It's kind of like that. It's like, you could think about anything. It's your mind. You could think about any motherfucker under the sun. But the fact that in that moment you decided to think of me, to me, is the ultimate honor. And that you feel comfortable enough to tell me. So I truly appreciate that. Or just anything that's like written that is like very dirty, because to me that's like, I want you to remember that I felt this way. And the same reason I say for all these grok assholes, like, a woman who shares a nude with you shares such a vulnerable side of herself that if she shares a nude and you share it with your friends and put it on grok, you don't deserve nudes. Like, you deserve like some voodoo shit that's done unto you so that you shall never get a nude. You deserve a curse. If that's what you do with a nude, with what a woman did, you put it with fucking grok's punk ass or whatever, that's what you should get. And because to me, that women have trusted me with that, even if it's like the 3-second thing, And it's funny. There's a meme that I actually sent to someone who did send it to me. It shows that scene in Rush Hour where what's her name, Rosalind Sanchez, flashes the badge, and she's wearing a bra under, and Chris Tucker goes, "Show me that again." And I sent it to the woman who sent me that. The titties, and I said, that's what you do. But she thought it was funny. But yeah, and I also joked, I'm so angry at the labor market right now that even a titty pic can't make me feel better. Like, I'm like, if I was, this is where times were simpler. Like, I thought about it the other day, like, a few women have sent me them over a course of time, and I still am like, it's a bad day. And I'm like, wait a second, it's not supposed to be a bad day. It's not supposed to be a bad day. If someone sends you that, the whole day is supposed to be good. You're not supposed to think about no job market and resumes and AI and chat GPT. And it's like, wow, that's how bad it's going.
Damn. My dad usually likes to give me advice in times like this. He's like, hey, it's a bad day, not a bad life. And I was like,
that's from Boys in the Hood.
Clearly my father's a thief.
He's right. He's right. But that's what Ice Cube says to Cuba Gooding Jr. I have it like framed. It's a very important thing. I agree. Well, so men, things to aspire to, not to be on the red pill Andrew Tate Hall of Fame, to be on a different Hall of Fame, or to be desired in other ways. Much more, much better. And in order to do that, you got to do this thing called caring about women and their feelings and what they like.
I'm chilling red pills the entire episode. That's a problem.
It's okay.
No. That's my whole goal for this podcast, to shit on them as much as possible. Right?
Well, I opened it shitting on them. Like, they're a bunch of Crayola 64 color bitches. Next time it's gonna be, if it's not the red pill, it's gonna be something else.
That's true. That's true.
Is like there's always gonna be a new iteration of this, but at the end of the day, you cannot have. There's no meaningful relationship with women that evolves from you thinking of them as less than. There's no meaningful relationship that evolves from you not caring about their pleasure. There's none of these things have any, like, that's why I'm saying men who are truly lost and like go to red pill for like to feel at home in a community and you care about them. Understand, none of these people want you to have like a healthy marriage and child with someone. They want you to just give each other like trophies of women as trophies and like you talk about all the time, impress each other. It's more important for you to impress each other.
You're gay.
It's just gay. Just like if you watch the Bad Bunny show, halftime show, and all you saw were the two men, like the guy said.
Yo.
I saw a lot of amazing curvature and gyration and dancing that was beautiful. Guayando Perreo. What I did not see was two men in a car enjoying each other, which is great. But I also had no idea it fucking happened.
It was one, it was so quick. Two, I didn't even see it. And then when the person pointed it out, I was like, could you believe they've shown this? And I'm thinking to myself, like, they showed it for 2 seconds. They showed everything else for
there was a lot of other distractions.
There's a lot of other things going on.
There's a lot of other things that that took my attention.
Right. I saw Lady Gaga show up. I saw Cardi B show up. I saw Jessica Alba show up. Freaking Bad Bunny fell through a roof, and then he fell off a roof.
He fell back. He climbed
on the grass with real people, but you were focused on two men dancing.
And if you're looking for gyrations, there were other gyrations to see that were not men. It's kind of like if I'm watching a walk-off home run and like someone is like, yo, you see that little ass pigeon? And it's like, bro, Cody Bellinger just like won us the game. I did not see that. I saw Aaron Judge tie it and Cody Bellinger win it. Yeah, but did you see that pigeon? And did you also see those two men? It's like out of 40,000 people all screaming? No, but you did. And unless you're playing Where's Waldo,
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, this has been Pilled. Please fund us. We deserve it, and you deserve it. Just like Bad Bunny said, you deserve it too. You believe in yourself. You're worth more than you realize.
Yeah,
and that's the type of thing that we should be. That's the type of thing men need to hear. Not anything that puts down women. Just things that reminds you of your own value, and that you don't need to put down women to have value. Be high value.
Agreed.
Hey, till next time, guys. Please pay us. Bye.